preview of. It's long been coming for years. The one, the only Top Gun.
+30 years of service. Combat medals, citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. Yet you can't get a promotion, you won't retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now. Yet here you are. Captain. Why is that?
It's one of life's mysteries, sir.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
I don't know how to start this off except for the wait is finally over. The one movie that people have been thinking of that needed a sequel after it was done finally has been put out, and we should be able to see it this fall, hopefully. They were saying either this fall or they might do spring 2021. Not exactly sure on what the final end date is, but I can't wait to see this. This is one of those movies that when you just hear, just like the James Bond movie, when you hear that first note, that bong, it just evokes memories of when before I even was in the military, and just like the feel of it's going down, it's happening right now. You know that you're going to see action packed and just the whole memory is coming back of everything. And it looks like they've done a good job preserving what the original was without making it look like it's going to be over campy and a reoccurring theme of everything. Even though being it is a military movie, it is going to have reoccurring themes, but just now from a different perspective for the lead character. With that, Brian, I'm going to let you step in and give us your take on this preview, and we'll go from there.
So I've done a lot of reading on this movie. It's probably been one of my most anticipated movies that I've been looking forward to see this year. I agree with you. There's going to be some real themes. Kelly McGillis is not in the mix. You got Jennifer Connelly instead as a love interest. You also have Miles Teller in as potentially Goose's son. The one thing missing from this trailer is seeing Val Kilmer, because he's going to be in the mix as Iceman again, and I want to see how that character really is implemented into the scheme. But I will say this: great cast: Ed Harris, John Hamm. It's going to be a star-studded affair. But here's where I differ with a lot of people. I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan, A lot of his movie, honestly, almost every single movie he's ever made is a movie that I've fully enjoyed. And if I were to rate them, they would all be on the higher end of the spectrum. And I think he's very choosy with the directors he works with. Joseph Kosinski, who's directing this movie, he did Oblivion, I think it was, that he was in, as well as he did one of the movies that I firmly enjoy that is a Disney flick. It's the Tron sequel, Tron Legacy. So for me, I hope this movie really just outperforms. I really hope it outperforms, because this has the making of a complete dud, or a complete, just a complete destruction of what it could potentially be. But I'm a firm believer in Tom Cruise and his decision making when it comes to this. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, the pilot, the filming of him piloting that aircraft is 100% legit. And if you ever watch any of the other videos, it's amazing what he does. Just like Mission Impossible movies and stuff. I'm gonna stop talking because I could probably talk about a half an hour about this movie, but this movie just looks seriously legit and has a strong potential. But it has a strong potential either way. It's not gonna be middle ground. It's gonna be super good, or it's gonna be total crap.
You have so many points that I agree with you with. Not only on the cinematography, how they did everything in the jet to make it look real and exact, but also that it could go either way, as being they didn't do it right, or it's going to be so well celebrated that people are going to come out crying. It depends on how this was written. But from the preview, it's one of those movies that really looks like it's going to be an enjoyable film. Once again, that Tom Cruise factor, I agree with you with, I love his movies. I'm not going to say anything about him personally because I don't know him personally. But when he does a movie, he's one of those people that does take the time to not only read the material that he needs to, but read everything corresponding to what that character's motives is going to be throughout that whole movie. Everything that affects that character that's in a visual shot, he does research on, so he gets an authentic feel when he's actually in those scenes with those props and in those locations, to make sure that when you're in this movie with him, you feel like you are his character with him doing it. Just like you said, I could talk minutes, hours, days just upon this one movie. Ted, give us your take on this film, on this preview, and tell us how you feel about it.
Okay, so as somebody who grew up in the military, and as somebody who has family members that work on aircraft constantly, and I'm so torn on this. I love the first Top Gun. It's a running joke in my family for many reasons. Like my mom, we had the VHS, and the VHS was stopped on the scene where Goose dies for, I think, 15 years. It never touched because my mom couldn't get past that because she would just bawl like a baby. And, there's lots of stuff to unpack. And then seeing this, it's like when they start off with, "You're just a captain and you've been in for 30 years. Dude, no, because he would have gotten his walking papers so long. Like, if you're that much of a loser in the military, I don't care how badass of a pilot you are, they're getting rid of you. Like, I mean, and I could just harp on that for like the nitpicking of the stuff and the disrespect of him slamming pilot's wings on a casket. It's like, bruh, no, that's not how that works. Like, there's these little tiny nuances that I think of my background makes me go, and it's so cringy. And then one of the other cringy things that is the most ridiculous things, and I admit it, somebody pointed out a couple years ago that Tom Cruise's teeth don't line up right. Like, the center doesn't go here like everybody else because it's over to the left. And so I have this really bad habit of watching his mouth when he speaks to see it. And then I point it out in my head going, there it is. And it's just this weird, I think it's like an ADD tick I have. But I miss that cheesiness. Like, I want it to be cheesy. Like, I wanted it to start off with Danger Zone. Like, where is that song? Like, where is like them singing in the bar? And I was like, they better be singing You Lost That Love and Feeling, because I would be pissed if they were singing something else. And it's one of those things where that's why I said I'm so torn. I'm so torn.
I'm 50-50 with you on that, because there is a scene where obviously they are singing in the bar, but it's that military feeling, like you said. There's some things that just reoccur because it's that traditional thing in the military. So
right.
I think it is going to happen, but I don't know if they're going to change it, and I'm worried that if they do change it, is it going to be worth changing it, or do they keep it and then try and do some modern swing to it?
Exactly, and that's where I'm so torn on this, because it also seems like they're trying to go way too Mission Impossibly with some of the maneuvers, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I want to make myself want to enjoy it, but I have a feeling that I'm going to be let down massively.
Understood. With that said, go ahead. Give us your grades on the Top Gun preview.
Oh, no. Okay. So based on the preview alone, I would give it a 2.5, just because it's right in the middle, because I don't know where it's going to go. It looks like it's going to go stupid, or it looks like it's going to be good. And I think Rotten Tomatoes is also going to crucify it. I think it's 65. They took too long. We are not at the right place in America to have a pro-military movie right now. I think that's going to kill a lot of it. There's a lot of any kind of sentiment going on. So I think that's going to really screw with the score. And when I see it, definitely not opening day. I would probably see it when it came onto Netflix, possibly.
Wow. Possibly when it comes to
Well, I'm so scared, because my childhood, so much of my childhood was around the original, and I don't want those memories to be sullied by a really shitty movie.
I really completely agree with you. It's just like what Brian said, that it could go way south.
Right.
It could be way up there. Brian.
And I'm so worried about it going bad.
Brian, tell us your grades on this preview.
To me, the preview's a 5, easy. The trailer was done very well. To me, to Tara's comment on it being very Mission Impossible, I do have to agree to a certain extent. The trailer itself seems to be that way. It reminds me of the Rogue Nation trailer, as well as the one before that, where basically, where they showcase Tom Cruise doing something overly crazy, like hanging off the side of an airplane or whatnot. This time he's flying these jets, and he's inverted and he's going down.
Phrasing?
Over a mountain. So my opinion, trailer's phenomenal. I give it a 5. I hope the movie's a 5, but I cannot say which way it's going to go, because too little to go on. But I trust the Cruise factor, in my opinion, on that front. When it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, man, this could either be a 20 or it could be a 90. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it has to hit on all cylinders for it to be above an 80. If it misses one small little piece, to Tara's point, because Top Gun is such a sacred 80s flick that everyone grew up on, you miss one small piece and it fails. Opening night.
Got it.
I will not wait for this movie.
Got it. Let me round it out. This is one of those previews that when it first came out, I wasn't watching it on my computer screen, on my phone, or anything else. I made sure I was watching this on my 4K 65-inch TV to make sure I got the full sound, full view, everything of the cinematic gold that this movie visually is. This is one of those movies that is going to literally make you just drool, because you're looking at all the motion that's going around, the scenic vistas that these planes are flying across, all the shots that make me geek out about a movie is going to be in this. Not only the feel of the whole Top Gun 80s being redone nowadays. It just gives me that whole 5-star right there just because of the preview. Rotten Tomatoes, we're all in agreement. This is one of those on the razor's edge. It could go one way or the other way if they mess up one thing. You know, you see in the preview a bunch of stuff that reminisces back to the volleyball, the singing, the motorcycles, the jets, the women, all of that basically could go one way or the other in a couple of seconds in one scene or the other. And I'm going to say Rotten Tomatoes, after it first gets out, hoping that it's good, it's going to be at 85, you know, the certified fresh level 85. I'm going to see it opening night, just because it's one of those feel-good movies that's going to literally be like, I need to see it before anyone else and enjoy this in its splendor in the whole 25 by 15 feet tall 4K cinema. And I would even go see it in 3D if they have it in a 3D version of this. I would, only because I want to literally be catatonically drooling at the screen with this movie. I want to just be literally like, I just want to be in the danger zone with
Kenny Loggins, because you're in the danger zone.
I hope that they do right by it and right by everyone else who loves this from the 80s. And with that, I would like to thank you both for showing up for the preview.